Now that we've learned a little bit more about how do we access strings and lists and we've seen some code that we've read, now let's try and solve some writing problems. So this is the Writing Lists 1 assignment. This is a practice assignment. So I'm going to start off just by giving a title and an author at the bare minimum. And there's a couple different questions here. So let's just start with number 1. This is to write a program that creates a list of 20 numbers input by the user and prints out the average or mean of the list. So this is going to be problem number 1. Okay, and so I need to create a list of 20 numbers, but they have to be input by the user. So let's just go through the motions of this, at least, and create a list of a couple numbers and test it out. So this is how I create a list. I say list equals, and I put in square braces the numbers I want in my list. And now I want to print out the average. So let's see, do I have a list.average? No. We have a sum. Let's see. The cool thing is that we actually have a sum function. So I'm going to sum the list and divide by, I could divide by 3. And I'm going to print this out. So print out the average. And if I divide it by 3, that'll print out my average. However, 3 is really particular and dependent on the size of this list. So what I'd really like to do is I'd like to replace this with something more general that'll apply in more situations. And the way I can do that is by getting the length of the list. So the cool thing about lists is we have this new function sum. Now we can go through the old way we were working on things and try and sum them up, but it's handier if we can use these functions because our code is a lot shorter. Okay, so let me just try to write this, to run this. Good, average 2.0. So it does correctly get the average. So we have everything we need to get the average. Now the trick is we need to write a program that creates a list of 20 numbers input by the user because we've already printed the average. Okay. Now, ideally, we want to get 20 numbers as input by the user. Let's just get one number as input by the user. So again, we're trying to gradually grow our program to be the final version by just making small changes one at a time. So I'm going to get input from the user. So please enter a number. And do I want numbers or strings? Yes, I want numbers. So to convert these into numbers, I'm simply going to use the eval function. Okay, so I have a number. I want to repeat this process 20 times. The simplest way for me to do that is with a loop, like a for loop. For I in range 20. And if I indent, voila. Now I'm getting 20 numbers. Am I adding them to the list? No. So again, we're trying to do an aggregator just like we did before. How am I going to add? I don't know how I add a number to a list. Let's try something. List dot gives me append. Maybe I can append a number. And I just want to, at the very end, how can I check to make sure this is actually working the way I expect? Well, I need to print something out. So I'm going to print out the you entered. I'm going to print out the list. Let's try this. Let's see what happens. There's going to be a bug. So I charge you. Do you see the bug yet? Let's run it and see if we can find it. So I'm going to enter a number. Oops, I want a space after that for future. It's not going to change it this run, but that'll help me in the future. Now I want my average to be something I can calculate. So I'm going to enter in all 3s. And then my average will be easy to calculate correctly. I only entered 3s. My average should be 3. Do you see the problem? So good news is we are printing out all the numbers we entered, and if you carefully count them, there's actually going to be 23 numbers here, not 20. Do you see this? 1, 2, 3? I didn't enter 1, 2, 3. Let's go back up in the program and see if we can figure this out. Well, if we start at the very top, we're initializing our list to be 1, 2, 3. Remember when we summed using a loop, we'd initialize our variables to be 0, because 0 is a good neutral value. Can you think of a good neutral initial value for a list? If you said an empty list, you are correct. So if I simply delete that, hopefully this will work correctly. So let me try this again. I'm going to use the same number over and over again. Oops, not there though. I want it down here. Let's do 5 this time. There we go. Woohoo! Great. I entered 25s and I got 5.0. Awesome. Okay,